this break came at a great time. Personally, given the Four Nations going on, which has just been awesome from top to bottom, just coinciding that with no Sabres hockey to really have to digest, it's been good for my psyche. I don't know if you guys can really relate to that.
There's been a zen that's just come over the entire community on Twitter, and it's nice to see a little break.
Not as much negativity as usual. So
No, it's been really peaceful, honestly.
I don't know about today. Today was pretty not
Well,
peaceful, I would say. So,
Why is that, Jonah?
oh, no reason, just hypothetical trades with your franchise star being thrown out there. So, it was a nice divergence from the piece, but here we are. It's been a good break, been a good week without Sabres hockey, and like I said, digesting some international hockey for the first time in nearly a decade, and man, has that lived up to the hype. So it's been good, and it's about to go away. It's less only 3 more days of the tournament, and then the Sabres are back in action on Saturday. So can't get too comfortable because we're right back into the trenches after.
Well, start stretching now. Get ready for some meaningful games in March.
I didn't realize how quickly like we're gonna be playing again. Like they're practicing tomorrow. Like obviously Dahlin, Yoki, and UPL probably won't practice, but it's kind of crazy that they're already gonna be practicing tomorrow and games are back. Sabres hockey's back. Thank God. We missed them.
It's gonna be funny when mid-April rolls around, everyone's gonna be like, "I can't believe it's over. Not gonna have
I don't
like
I
any
don't think
games."
anybody's going to be saying that this year. I really don't. I don't think.
Mhm.
Just a gut feeling, but I think people will be ready to hang them up early. So
Fair.
on to can't call it the second half we go, but on to the last sort of section of the season we go. Welcome back to another episode of the Sabre Roundtable. My name is Jonah,
I'm Christian.
I'm JP.
I'm Jesse.
and as always, we will be talking to you about all things Buffalo Sabres hockey and even a little bit of the wider NHL. We took a little break ourselves for a little bit here. It's been just about 2 weeks, I think, since our last episode. So apologies. I know, we started the season at 2 episodes a week, kind of slowly transitioned into one a week, and now we're just taking hiatuses whenever the hell we want.
Let it be known that Jonah does not provide his employees with PTO.
Yeah,
Benefits
no,
around here aren't great.
no. But we're back tonight, and it's we'll touch a little bit about the Sabres hockey that took place before the break, which again we were touching on how we were going to touch on the Columbus game, and Christian said like that game feels like ancient history, which I think is yeah, it does feel like that, and even the Nashville game that happened right after. But enough happened in those two games, I think, to talk about it. Then we got some trade stuff that dropped shortly before Four Nations kicked off. And then we could actually just touch on the Four Nations themselves, and that should basically do it for the episode. Except I think JP wants to got a little something else planned, another new segment planned for the end of the episode that I think we're test driving. So stay tuned for that.
Let me cook.
So, without further ado, we can just get right into it. Last time we recorded, the Sabres were on a 3-game win streak, looking for their first 4-game win streak in over 2 years. And they had to do it against the Columbus Blue Jackets. But that was still not the prevailing storyline. We were still in the aftermath of the Tage Thompson, the Timo Meyer, or not Timo Meyer, Tage Thompson and
Stefan Nosen.
Stefan Nason hit that happened in the latter half of that New Jersey game that the Sabres won. But everybody was looking, and everybody was waiting to see how the Sabres reacted. We got word during that week that there were a few player meetings about that incident, some moving parts, and how does the game against the Columbus Blue Jackets kick off? But with Dennis Gilbert dropping the mitts with Matthew Oliver in a very much, I would say, staged fight.
What makes you say that?
No reason at all. Just
I think we could have guessed by Dennis Gilbert being out there for puck drop on the first period. It's like, all right, I think I could see where this is going.
Well, the funniest part about that was watching post game. All the guys were like, "Yeah, like you knew that was coming." I think Alex Tuch said, "Like, yeah, you knew that was absolutely a response to last game." And then Lindy Ruff goes up to the podium and he's like, "Yeah, I saw the Blue Jackets were starting Matthew Oliver, so I was like, I should probably throw Dennis Gilbert out there just to see what they were doing." So, bit of a bit of a split there as to how some guys in the organization perceive that. So that's great. Everybody's not on the same page there.
They're like, there needed to be a response. Brother, it's the wrong team.
You think Lindy sent like a text in his old group chat? Be like, guys, tune in for the start of this game.
You're about to see
You
something
see we mean
wild.
business now.
It was weird. It was really weird. I get it. At the same time, I don't. Poor Gilbert. I mean, Oliver is one of the best fighters. He's probably one of the last few like pure-ish enforcers left in the league, and he took a couple blows, and I don't know. It was weird, but it happened, and I guess we can sort of move past it now. At least there was something to kind of, I don't want to say shut people up, but kind of be like, hey, like there you go. We acknowledged it. It happened. We can move forward, even if I think it just the way they did it was dumb.
Do you think like I get acknowledging? Don't you think it's more of a slap in the face that they did it this way than not doing anything at all? Like, would you have been happier if they didn't do anything and they just kind of like moved past it?
Well, my thing was when we talked about it in depth last episode. My thing was just wait for the next time it happens because it's going to happen. Somebody on your team's going to get hit, and they're going to get even if it's a completely clean hit, as JP always takes an issue with the amount of fights in the NHL today that occur after a clean open ice hit. Wait for that to happen and then do it. Like this doesn't solve anything, and it doesn't really show any sort of growth in my mind.
It was just so forced. Like it doesn't change anything. And I think it like Christian kind of alluded to, I think it makes this look worse that we did it off the opening draw of the next game. Like I thought it was dumb.
Well, I feel like it's played for laughs more than it is like anything else, which definitely isn't a
100%.
good sign when the point you're trying to make is like get back and like, well, we'll stand up for our guys now. But like people are laughing at you now. And
Yeah, it's
not
like
really the best
oh,
look.
it's like oh look, they did it. They stood up to the Devils by fighting someone on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Congratulations.
Well, it's very much, because the Lou Cheech Miller comparisons inevitably came up, but it did feel very much in the mold of the Sabres signing John Scott shortly after, and then he goes after Milan Lucic the next time they play one another. Like it just feels forced. It feels like you missed your window, and it doesn't feel organic, and it just feels like you're doing it not to prove a point, but more just to like cover your bases.
Well, if we're going that direction, if history repeats itself, get ready for the big off-season trade, getting Matt Rempe on the team. He's just going to be mulling guys over.
The more interesting part of this story is kind of what we heard in the days following, more specifically from Elliot Friedman, who in his written version of 32 Thoughts, I'll just read the quote. It was about the whole fallout. The Sabres have won 4 in a row, but we will see if there is any long-term fallout from Sunday, when Stefan Nason's hit on Tage Thompson went unaddressed. One player on another team said he heard from a friend on Buffalo that there was talk of the leadership group and or alternate captaincies being switched over what didn't happen.
What an awesome season this has been.
I mean, my immediate first thought, there was 2 alternate captains on the ice when Tage Thompson got hit. One of them was Tage Thompson. The other one was Matthias Samuelsson, and I believe he was wearing an A that game.
Mm-hmm.
I think also it's sort of dot connecting, but I'm pretty sure it was mostly Alex Tuch and Dylan Cousins. It kind of seemed like they led the way on that player meeting from what we heard about. So kind of, I'm not going to say that they flat out said they should strip Samuelsson or the whole A, but yeah, it's just an ugly situation. I don't mean to really bring it up again because it feels like we have moved past it, but we never got the chance to properly address it, and it's just uneasy. It's just the team is in a really weird place right now.
Right now. Like right now? No, they're always in a weird place.
Listen, they're not playing good hockey this season, but I think when you have something like this just kind of pop into the middle, now your core. I mean, like where do you think this Dahlin for Kachuk stuff stems from?
Oh
It
my
stems from
God.
stuff like this. It stems from stuff like this, and it's dumb. You roll your eyes at it, but it's the reality of the situation. And now you have supposedly guys on the roster saying, "Should we change who wears a letter for this team?"
Dude, like no knock on Brady Kachuk at all because I think he's a great hockey player, but you don't trade your star defenseman for like if you're throwing out ideas like that, Dahlin is the last person you're packaging in a trade for someone. But if you said someone else, like if you said maybe like Bowen Byram and plus or maybe I could tolerate hearing Owen Power, but Dahlin absolutely not. Absolutely not.
We don't really need to diverge
No.
into into
We
that
don't need to give that more
conversation. It's
attention.
not even a conversation. It's not. It's not. It's not even a conversation. Anyways, the Sabres did win that game, which is cool. They break the streak, 4 straight wins for the first time since January of 2023. Still just an insane length of time to not win 4 straight games, and they have a chance to win 5 straight heading into the Four Nations break. And so we move on to the Nashville game. They would not do so. They would lose that game 6-4.
Damn it.
Christian, there's probably there is a big reason that the Sabres lost that one too. Do you want to kind of lead the way of that conversation as to what
Me?
maybe cost them in this one? You had some thoughts about the puck stopper that night.
We're gonna rehash old wounds here. Is this me taking a victory lap or something? Because yeah, UPL he had a really bad night. They easily were the better team, and he couldn't stop a beach ball that night. But every goalie has one of those games every so often. Not saying goalies on the more elite end like Connor Hellebuck really don't have them, but UPL's an above average goaltender on most nights, and today it just wasn't his night. And it sucks because it's a game you want to win, but can't have nice things.
Question for you, for all of you. If we got the goaltending that we did last year with UPL, which was arguably like somewhat of a Vezina campaign, like if we were on a good team, he probably would have been in conversations more. Would we at least be like right? Would we at least be in the race, do you think, if we had better goaltending this year? Because UPL's not had a good year. Like it's no secret. I think one of he's probably in the top 5, top 3 list of reasons why I think we're not in the race right now, because he just hasn't won games for us this year as much as he did last year. I think we would be in close to a playoff spot if we had better goaltending. But I don't know what you guys think.
Well. JP coming over to Mr. Positivity's coming over to slander the goaltender. I remember it was me, you, and Jonah. You two would gang up on me when I talk crap about UPL. Hence, it was during a pretty good season he had, but no,
you
I
were
don't.
just waiting for this. We signed him to an extension, and that same episode you talked about when we're going to be trading him. Okay,
I think we led
you were
the
waiting for this.
Come
I
on,
think
you
Christian
gotta-
and I led the
gotta bait a little bit.
conversation. I think we
Gotta
led
rage
the
bait.
conversation was, do you think he's going to finish that contract here? And we just immediately just go, no chance.
Gonna rage bait everyone, but no, I don't think so. I don't think they're still in it to answer your question. I think they'd still be out of it. I think there's more wrong with this team than just the goaltending. I think there's probably.
I don't think anybody's disputing that, but
Yeah.
You think if he like saved a few games for us?
I think
I'll
so.
say I think our roster has played better this year than they did last year. It's just last year our goaltending was better, and this year our goaltending wasn't that good.
This team is just like the what if analysis of the entire NHL.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at goals saved above expected. I mean, right now, Luukkonen is. He was I think before the Nashville game, he was in the positives. He's back in the negatives now. I think they're in the race. They're not in a playoff spot. I don't think you can go that far as to say that the goaltending has skewed their results that much. But yeah, I mean, it's more a testament to how good he was last year. I mean, he was unbelievable. I mean, that team, the conversations we're having about them consistently this season would have been brought up last year without Luukkonen. I mean, they would have been in the race for a lottery pick again, which I know we brought up. Like they were in the race for so long. Like they had a shot at they were within arm's reach of the playoffs in like mid-March, and it was all off the backs of Luukkonen, who was playing like 17 of 18 games, and I think the Sabres were like consistently leading the league in goals allowed for the longest time, and yeah, it's just another wasted opportunity. They had the chance to capitalize on good goaltending last year, and now we're just back to standard, below average, having to fight that on some nights, such as this. I mean, 5 goals on 23 shots. It's not a good day at the office. A lot of those were not good goals. Your team scores 4 hockey. Your team scores 4 goals. You should have a chance to win that hockey game, even though they did score 5 times technically.
Oh, Jesus, we don't even need to. We're gonna get into that too. I mean, it was clearly offsides.
Yeah, it was. Just to turn the knife a little bit more before we touch on Dahlin going sicko mode. Ryan O'Reilly, 4 primary assists in this game. That's the first time he's ever done that. It's the first time he's ever had 4 assists in his career, which I actually think is kind of nuts.
Mm-hmm.
But 4 assists for the first time in his career, all were primary.
That top line cooked us that night. Really did. Speaking of Dahlin, little breaking news. He is on the power play. He is getting a shift on the power play right now. We're recording during the time of the U.S.-Sweden game. So take a lap. He finally got a shot.
He finally won.
Too little, too late.
As they're eliminated from contention. Oh, well. Anyway, speaking of Rasmus Dahlin, he had a night against Nashville. An assist, a goal, should have been a goal and 2 assists. He was all over the place. Him and Bowen Byram were constantly making things happen, and it's just a performance that's sort of lost to time. It's just so funny that this happened going into the 4 Nations break, and then we've had this prevailing storyline of Sweden not doing anything with him. And I just think it's very on the nose. He was unbelievable that night. He was all that anybody watching the game could really talk about. And watching him now, it's better than Jack ever was, Sam ever was. He's just on another level, and it's just watching that kind of flail away from them and watch it be played in a dead season. It's just another infuriating thing to stack on top of the season. And when you see the headlines or you see the hypotheticals thrown out there of, what if they traded Rasmus Dahlin for Brady Tkachuk? It just, man, it hurts. It hurts to see that. And then you go and watch the Sweden game, and for 2 consecutive games, he's not getting shifts in overtime, and he's not playing on the power play. And man, just, and it's not just him; it's the whole team. Like Tage Thompson should be on Team USA right now. Even I would say even like Alex Tuch. Like if the World Cup. I know this is going to get on Jesse's nerves here, but like if the World Cup or 4 Nations was like 2 years ago, like if it was after 2023, like Tuch is making that team 30 goals, 70 points, playing on a good team.
You're stretching, but
I'm not stretching.
I'll let you keep going.
Are you taking?
I'm gonna let you finish. But.
Are you taking fossilized Brock Nelson?
There's a list of other guys that didn't make the team that should.
This is true.
That I'd take
this
over
is true.
Alex
Jason
Tuch.
Robertson probably should be on that team, but it very much is a representation of just kind of where perception is of the team, that the team doing so bad has caused things like this to happen where the players just aren't respected enough as much as they should be. So, those were the two games that the Sabres did play. Probably spent a little bit more time on them than I wanted to, but oh well. Had a little bit of catching up to do. Before we get into the Four Nations fun, some trade stuff to quickly touch on. I mean, we did, I guess since we were just on Alex Tuch, a note by Elliot Friedman in a 32 Thoughts column connecting him to the Tampa Bay Lightning, saying that if he was made available, he would expect Tampa Bay to be all over him. And then there are actually some reports today that the Kings have been slowly starting to accumulate interest there. So Alex Tuch inevitably picking up interest at the deadline with his contract contract landscape beginning to loom over the Sabres. And then there's the Dylan Cousins thing. It started with a Pierre LeBrun report connecting Cousins to Calgary, and then Kevin Weeks decides to tweet out a picture of Chippewa on a random Tuesday afternoon, getting everybody excited. It went radio silent for a day, and willy-nilly, 24 hours later, it's just another Dylan Cousins rumor. Teams are beginning to pick up interest there. So
I hate that guy.
Thanks for that.
It's a complete waste of everybody's time. Thanks for nothing. You're welcome for the engagement.
And just to bounce back on the Alex Tuch Tampa thing, I think it was reported that Tampa was interested in Cousins too earlier in the year. They're always weird because I don't know what they would give up that would interest. The Sabres enough. Like, they have their star guys that I know they wouldn't trade, and they don't really have the deepest list of prospects, and they kind of gave up their draft picks too. I think next year is the first year they have a first rounder since Isaac Howard, and what was that, 21, 22?
It's probably the same conversations Kevin Adams has had with every other GM in the NHL that about player availability for their team. Every year it's probably a bunch of them talking to Kevin, being like, "Oh, we'll unload all this prospect junk on you if you give us Alex Tuch." And there's a reason why he hasn't made a trade yet, and it's because he's not doing it anymore. He says he wants to make a hockey trade. So if you hear smoke rumors about Kevin Adams talking to this team or these teams reaching out, 98% of the time it's going to be like, "Oh, we'll give you a first round pick, we'll give you a bunch of prospects." That's not where this team is at. And Kevin Adams is trying to break that mold, because right now this entire league sees this organization as the development organization, and then they take the players and we'll give you prospects back. And then the cycle repeats.
It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to trade futures because you don't have to think about that as much. That's all question marks.
Well, especially when you're Tampa Bay and you're giving up 4 draft picks for Tanner Jeannot. They don't care whether it's because with the Kings, I could totally see an out of left field scenario where Tuch, maybe he has moved this deadline, but it feels like whether it's him or it's Cousins, whoever goes first, I feel like they target that right-handed defenseman maybe, or if they do the hockey trade, and I feel like the only guy when I look at Tampa Bay's roster that makes sense for them, it's Eric Chernak. But you go to Eric Chernak, he's got a full no trade clause, so it's nothing matches up here. I don't know. The only other guy that is young and could maybe fill a need is Connor Geekie, but that's really it. He just got there this past offseason, so I don't know. It's
weird. Just traded Sergachev for him.
I was gonna say,
see them turning around and trading him right away.
It's Alex Tuch makes sense for any playoff team ever. He's the middle six forward every team wants. I just don't know. There's just inevitably it just comes down to what do the Sabres want, and they want a good hockey player back, and it's tough to find one that has no trade protection, fits their timeline and needs, and I don't know. It's the ultimate paradox. You constantly find yourselves in. You don't know. It's part of the fun of this deadline upcoming, but also it's fun because you don't know. But not knowing might be better than actually knowing, because they might not get any decent return for any player they end up moving because it's so limited.
I could see this deadline being very disappointing. And it'd just be another disappointment in this whole season. Disappointment after just a, like 13 game losing streak. No one sticking up for Tage Thompson. Just repeated cycle of, blowing leads in games and this and this and that. And it feels like it would just be another microcosm of something that's, feels like it's been set into motion since the beginning of this season. I mean, we'll get to the deadline, and I bet you it'll come down to maybe like Kevin Adams making one move just because he's getting his arm twisted a little bit, and it'll be a minor move. It won't be anything crazy. Like you don't, I'm predicting this right now. Do not expect the big trade to happen at the deadline this year.
Well, it's like if you're giving up Cousins or Tuch at the deadline, like I feel like you'd anticipate that one of them going to a team that's trying to make the playoffs, and they're not going to give you like a big piece of their team back. So it's probably just prospects and picks, right?
Right, but I think they just that they don't do it. They're just done with those types of trades. They don't. It doesn't fill a need the Sabres have at this point in time. Yes, teams are gonna call you and be like, "Hey, we want this person because we're going to the playoffs. You're not. We want this guy. He could really help us out. Could we give you this and this and this in return, as in like prospects, picks, whatever?" If you're the Buffalo Sabres, who in the actual fuck wants you don't want picks and prospects anymore. Like if you're Kevin Adams, you should if if you're talking to this guy on the phone, you should be like, go fuck yourself with this. Like I don't need
That's
any of
two.
this.
That's two. Oh man.
I'll do a second take. Go climb a tree because we don't need any of this.
That was not necessary.
It's been
Come
2
That
on,
wasn't
weeks,
needed.
man.
That didn't add anything.
I thought we were in Zen mode here. I thought this was like we were in the calm
fired up.
before the storm. God.
We're getting demonetized because of that. We have editing powers.
Who's we?
I was gonna say, who's we? It's me.
Jonah has that.
This brand.
I think realistically, the one move that I want to see happen, I think we really should consider trading Bowen Byram. I mean, I know we've already considered it, but like all of the underlines, all the analytics really don't favor him this year. It's all pretty much just when he's on the ice, goals have been scored, so it makes him look better. But he's a Dahlin merchant. Like if Dahlin were ever get hurt, or if we needed to mix it up, like Bowen Byram can't go up and down the lineup. He's only playing good with Dahlin right now. So it's like he's probably got decent trade value right now because he is having a reasonably good season. It's just if you look into it further, you'll find like he's not as good as everybody might think. Like I know people are even talking about let's keep Byram over Power. Like that's absurd. That's absurd.
Yeah.
I don't. Do these people think like Bowen Byram was playing with a top 5 player at his position on the planet for every game this year, aside from the ones he's hurt from? Like, yeah, no shit, he's gonna score a lot of points, man.
What happened to Zen mode, Jonah?
I think you kind of got this going. This has been building up with the whole Dahlin stuff. But this is like
but
more of
you're right.
Like you think if Owen Power's playing with Rasmus Dahlin for 50 games that he's not. I mean, Owen Power's accumulating points anyways. It's like I don't get it. Like these people just they turn off any sort of like when like Owen Power is just like it's like he's like a trigger for some people. You just tell like the conversation just changes when you bring him into it, and it's like I don't know. Like if the team were to do that, to choose Power over Byram, they're handcuffing themselves.
The other way.
But Byram over
Or
Power.
choose Byram over Power, like they're handcuffing themselves.
Clip clip that.
It's
Let's get chat. Clip that.
Power's name, I sadly understand why people are talking about him, but I think like it's ridiculous. It's like I wouldn't trade him for almost anything right now because at least right now, you have a number one and number two defenseman. Okay, Power's underperforming, no doubt. He's having a down year, but you have a number one and number two. You move Power unless you're getting another defenseman back, which you wouldn't. Like, you'd probably trade Power for a top forward. I think you're opening a bigger hole than you'd be filling. Like,
Matthias Samuelson's anchoring your second pair.
yeah,
That's tough.
he
I mean, you'd move
he hasn't been given a good chance.
in that situation. You'd move Byram down, but even then, like if he's
That's
on your second
it's
pair,
worse. He
it's
can't
worse.
do it.
He is your Jeff Skinner of your defensive core. You cannot play him anywhere else except your top pair.
He's a tool for Dahlin. That's what he
Yes.
is. I know the guy probably wants to go somewhere and be a number one defenseman. Great. More power to you. It's not going to be here.
No,
And it's, I mean, Mike Harrington's throwing around, he might command $9 million on his next contract. Like, no, absolutely not.
this team isn't paying that. We already
Absolutely
got money
not.
locked up to Power and Dahlin. You cannot pay him of all people that much.
So, fully on board. Like, this is kind of worked out for the Sabres nicely. I say sort of because they might still keep him and have to pay him a lot, but they got him at probably a lower cost. Like, he's worth more than Casey Middlestat now. But they got him for Middlestat. They basically won. They won the trade there. But now you're kind of at a crossroads because now he's going to be commanding. Because if you're Bowen Byram, like, yeah, you should be asking for $9 million. You are playing with a top 5 player at his position on the planet consistently and producing, and it makes sense. It's just this. This is like the stuff that you constantly talk about. They're constantly behind the 8 ball. They're never thinking progressively. You need to think about, like, where is this headed? Like, what is Bowen Byram? Is he really a part of the core, or is he a easily movable piece, or someone that you take advantage of? You sell at a high point again.
Well,
This is the situation where you trade for an asset, as in you move Casey Middlestat for this guy. His value increases and you sell on the high for a bigger need. You have a hole in your top 6 forward that you did not address in the offseason. You didn't address last year. Basically, it's been gone since Jeff Skinner left. And even then, that's a stretch because at that point in his career, he was, kind of coming back down. But this is what a GM needs to do. He needs to flip Bowen Byram for something in the top 6 if you can. And I'm sure there is a team out there that would love to have a Bowen Byram and it has an expendable piece at forward. There is a hockey trade to be made somewhere. There just needs to be those conversations. I'm sure he's trying to have those conversations, but there's got to be a little more urgency here.
I feel like if he wasn't commanding such a high dollar value, like, I don't know, even if it was like 6 million, it's like I could understand. Like, I wouldn't mind keeping him on the team. Like, him being good with Dahlin, that is a good thing. Like, I understand it lacks flexibility, but let's say you got Power, a legitimate second pair, defenseman for him, and you had like that's a pretty good top 4. Like, I don't mind him staying on the team, but like, I think the better move is to probably move him right now and try and get a forward, like Christian said. And I think straight up Byram for someone, you're not getting someone who's really going to impact your top 6 that much, but Byram plus something like how we were talking about with the Patterson trade talks, Byram, Cousins, and whatever else. Like, I think that's a move that you should consider. I think they have been considering. Like, I think they have been talking about it, but I also think if we get past this deadline and he's still on the team, they're going to be talking extension. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if like it happens shortly after or early in the offseason, something happens with Byram because they have to make a decision no matter what. Like, you either commit to him or you get rid of him. You can't be in between. Like, don't, like, you have to make a decision.
Yeah, like I said, I can stomach a bridge. I just, like, a bridge is fine. It's fine. It's best case scenario here. I just, like, you really hope they're not thinking long term here. You really hope that they're thinking that he can be, like, that he is more than what he is. I mean, we saw what happened. Like, he had the chance to kind of lead this team when Dahlin was out, and he couldn't. The team didn't win a game. it's probably not a long-term fit here, but I shouldn't say it's probably not a long-term fit, but it shouldn't be like, is he 100% staying? You know, there you should be having that conversation about what, what do you do moving forward? How does the rest of this season, summer, next season, the season after really look like with him? And it's just obviously it's a conversation they've had. I mean, we know he was on the table for Elias Pettersson. They were okay with trading him, so inevitably they've had these talks. Last player I did want to touch on, since we're touching on kind of selling at a high point for players that need new contracts. What do you do with Jason Zucker? Because here's a guy who's come in, thrived, had one of the best seasons of his career. Inevitably, his name's going to pop up on trade boards. Teams are going to call. What do you do here? Because we just had that whole talk about Bowen Byram. How do you approach the Jason Zucker thing in comparison?
I think the Jason Zucker thing's a little bit different, just based in the situation both players are in. Like Bowen Byram's a young player; he's going to command a big contract. Jason Zucker, he's more of a vet presence. Still could score as we could see, but he's on the back nine of his career. I think it's a guy you need in the locker room too. Just the amount of times I've left games and listened to post game, he's always one of the guys to speak in the locker room, and he's very well spoken. I think he's huge for and I know people hate hearing this now, but the vibes, he's huge for this team. And I think it would play more of an integral role than Bowen Byram would going forward. So I think and the good thing about it is you don't have to commit to him very long term. I'd say like maximum 3-year deal. And you go from there. But I'd say I'd be more inclined to keep someone like him. And he also fills a need in the forward group. Unlike Bowen Byram, you kind of have more of a surplus of, or he's more of kind of like as you said, it's more of a toy for Dahlin to use on the ice. So I'd keep him around.
My worry with him is you sign him to a 3-year deal, and then, since he is aging, that second half of the contract just, it could not work out and he could just fall off, and then it's like kind of forced into the lineup. With that being said, I probably would give him an extension, but I think the concerns are there, and I don't know why he would want to re-sign here. Like, I guess he's expressed interest in it. Like, supposedly all these guys are close, and the vibes are usually pretty good with the team, even though the team sucks. I think he's someone you probably should keep. He could be, if we actually have a good team, he could be a really good third line player for us.
Yeah, bouncing off of what Christian kind of mentioned, I can't see them going super long term with him, like 2-3 years, and with how he's looked this year, I can't really see an argument against bringing him back. Maybe not the same dollar amount, but around the same, kind of. Just it's a good guy to have around.
You got the money to use.
What if a team, like, what if everybody has a price? What would maybe change that thinking? What would be like a realistic, like, if somebody straight up says, I will give you a first round pick for Jason Zucker, and it's like an LA Kings say we'll give you a first round pick for this guy.
I mean, again, I feel like it doesn't fill a need for the Sabres. I understand having a first round pick's a good thing, but like, seriously, you want another developmental prospect in your pool? Again, I'm not against that, but you have needs elsewhere. I understand a first round pick might be more valuable than a Jason Zucker at this point in time, but for the Buffalo Sabres on a more micro scale, I think he provides more value than a first round pick would.
What if he was like, what if the Devils came to you and said, we'll give you Nemec for Zucker and something else?
I'd
How
Okay,
about
do it
that?
all day.
I mean,
All day.
I'd say yes to that, but he's a UFA on an expiring deal. That's never happening.
I think it's important to have the conversation because I don't know, maybe some team does get crazy, and you know, because Nemec is a prospect. He's a prospect at the end of the day, and if that were to be like a hypothetical, not really the hockey trade you might want there, but I don't know, just fun to bring up something interesting.
I think his name will be in conversations, and I think it should be, and I think Adam should list an offer, like Jonah's alluding to.
Things to monitor. The trade deadline's coming up. I believe it's in about 3 weeks. I don't know the exact date.
The
I think it's the
7th,
first
I think.
Friday in March, 7th of March. There you
I
go.
think so.
So less than a month away. We shall see how those storylines continue. All right, let's finally get into the fun that's been going on in the hockey world. The Four Nations face-off. Holy cow! What a just brilliant decision this has been by the NHL, just to call it quits on the All-Star weekend. Just throw it to the side and have, even if it's only 4 teams, having international hockey with the best on best for the first time since 2014. Every single game has had, besides U.S. versus Finland, it's just been a spectacle to watch. Like even today it was looking like a blowout. Canada up 4-0 versus Finland. Finland makes it 4-3 with just about a minute to go, and you're thinking that maybe Canada really does blow it. It's been so amazing to see this, and then that's not even to touch on just the spectacle that USA versus Canada was on Saturday night. The NHL doesn't get many opportunities to get themselves patted on the back. This deserves full props. This has been outstanding stuff.
It's definitely been a long time coming, having 9 years in between international, best on best. I mean, some in NHL control, some out of it with COVID, but it's been awesome. Like I hope they never go back to the All-Star game. I hope they just do this every year. But the US Canada game was nuts. That's probably the craziest start to a hockey game I have ever seen in my entire life.
I had 3 layers on when the game started, and by the time the JT Miller fight was done, I was down to my t-shirt and I was still sweating. I was so fired up. That was the best start to a game I've ever witnessed. And it there wasn't as much fighting, and the hits were awesome. And like, to kind of touch on earlier how there was so many like open ice hits and they just kept playing. And it was just the flow of the game, just everything about it. I had a really fun time watching it.
It's probably where the Brady Tkachuk conversations are stemming from. Just him absolutely burying Drew Doughty, and now everyone's like, we need that guy on our team. I don't care if we have to give up our best defenseman.
Yep, not like he was making the rounds the first game of the tournament for putting the best player on the planet on his ass as well. Anyways, yeah, that game was nuts. Just the start, the 3 fights right off the bat. It's just like, holy shit, what's going on? And then McDavid comes down and roofs a backhander on Hellebuck. Place is going nuts. You know you're in for a good one, and then a few minutes later, McDavid gets rocked by Charlie McAvoy. Kachuk rocks Doughty. Then Gensel comes down, ties the game. Second period, Larkin snipes one from far out. It's 2-1. It's like, it wasn't even a high scoring game. It wasn't, but man, it just was so fun to watch from start to finish, and it's just 9 years in the making, like you said. And like the start we saw, like that wouldn't have been possible at the Olympics just because of the rules there and how taboo fighting is, and even the hits there. It's just, oh man, it's just so awesome. And for it to be done in the heart of Montreal, it's just everything. It lived up to everybody. It's all anybody could talk about for like the entire week. Everybody knew it was going down on Saturday night, and it was one for the ages.
And not to be that guy, but everyone threw a fit about Kucherov last year. They have him to thank for this. They bet same people that were posting that video of him missing that passing challenge, saying this is a joke and how much they hate him. They better tweet now saying thank you for what we're all willing or able to witness now just because of him.
I think especially, I mean, the NBA All-Star game was this weekend, and that kind of went up in flames, especially because, arguably the GOAT, decided, the day of the game, oh yeah, I'm not going to be able to play, so, no one else can.
Arguably.
Did you just
Yeah,
say
here comes
arguably?
here comes the LeBron Glazer, but
Mm-mm.
I I it's interesting because those two leagues, I think NHL is on the up and coming and NBA is on the, going down. And I think, that's part of the reason why. Like next year, I guarantee the NBA will have the same exact format that we just had. Like they're going to have some sort of Nations Cup. Like there's no way they have the All-Star game again after how successful it was for the NHL. But have they said how often they want to do this?
So I think they're doing this and then the Olympics on like an every 2 year kind of basis.
And you throw an all-star game in there every 2 years.
Well, I think it'll
Yeah,
be
because I
it'll
was
be
gonna
the Olympics, and they said they're bringing back the World Cup of Hockey. I think instead of just the four nations, they're going to expand it a bit, but it'll be every 2 years.
because I do feel like if you were to do this every year, like it would easily lose its, its novelty. I mean, the reason why I think it's been so hyped up, especially USA's Canada, because they haven't played each other in 9 years. I feel like, even if you do it every other year, like it's gonna lose its relevance a little. The players will probably not care as much as they do this year. And I mean, obviously, there's other reasons why the USA Canada game was so, heated up and why there's such a big rivalry. But I feel like you gotta make sure you don't overdo it. Like you want to make sure it is something to watch every single time it's on.
Are you advocating for less of this?
I'm just saying if you do it every year, it's gonna lose. It's gonna lose its novelty. Like I think it wouldn't. Players like All Star game in every league. Everybody used to care about the All Star game, their butts off, and then eventually, because of today's day and age, they don't really care anymore. Which I don't really blame them. You don't want to get hurt. You want some rest. I feel like if you were to do this every single year, it will lose its importance every single year.
Well, I'm not saying doing it every year, but I think 2 years is more than enough buffer between
Yeah.
teams.
No, it should definitely be like
This should be yeah, that's probably fine.
it should be a World Cup of Hockey and then All-Star, then the Olympics, then All-Star, then World Cup,
I would
then
just
All-Star.
I would just get rid of the All-Star game. Like it serves no purpose anymore. It doesn't. Just name All-Stars. Say like, hey, this person was selected to be an All-Star. Don't have the game. There's no point. Nobody ever wants to be there. The games
True.
aren't competitive. They've tried to switch, everybody thought 3-on-3 would save the game. It didn't. They thought
It was
bringing
good
the
for like
draft
a
back.
year or two.
I was gonna say
It
I
was
think
good for like
the,
a year, but
the first couple times they did like the draft and the 3-on-3. I tuned in, I was excited, but it definitely died out.
it's like a revolving door. I mean, they tried to bring back the draft last year, and I guess it was better, but still like nothing to write home about.
The celebrity coach last year was pretty cool.
It,
Just the one. But.
yeah, well, the other one, it wasn't the other one on acid. Then he admit that. I would just get rid of it. Like, would anybody really miss it? Like, who's gonna miss the All-Star game? I don't see. Just give every player 2 weeks off, and then just do international hockey every 2 years, and boom, there you go.
Should be the same as like the NFL just should just scrap the entire Pro Bowl. Like I didn't even know it was happening until like I just was flipping through channels like, oh, that's on tonight. Forgot about that. And it just kept going. Like nobody watches it anymore.
Well, it's like flag football too, right?
Yeah, it's so because like I think the last good Pro Bowl I watched was the one where the Bills had Zach Brown. This is how far back we're going. It was probably like 2017 or 18. And that was a good game. And then after that, it just like no one hit anymore. It wasn't even a game. Everyone's playing touch. It was just dumb. So yeah, they should just scrap him in all leagues. They need to come up with a different idea.
The only good All-Star game is the MLB, and that's because you.
Here we go.
No, he's right.
It's because you can't just half-ass playing baseball. Like you're not gonna have your pitchers go up there and throw 60 to Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. Like you can't really half-ass it.
Oh, you could half-ass playing baseball. You see some of these guys? You ever see
Okay, but
Vogelbach or whatever his name is?
in general, though, like
That's a sport I'd
you know,
love to be
being a
about. Sitting
baseball
on my
player, you
ass in the
half-ass
dugout.
something. All my dad's ever told us, you know, you half-ass something, you're gonna develop bad habits. Like baseball, you can't really do that. But every other sport, yeah, it's like useless now. It's
That's a
completely
good man
useless.
right there. That's a good man, Jimothy. He would never speak out LeBron's name like you did. Keep lay sunshine out of your mouth. Come on, man.
Look, I would say the LeBron hate on the Twitter was pretty crazy. Like people are saying LeBron's the reason for the NBA, you know, failing right now.
Yeah, it's just a ridiculous,
So I'm just
ridiculous take.
Well,
He's kept them
did you
relevant
guys
for
see
so long.
the team photo where like the
I
team
don't
he got
know.
drafted to, he was in his street clothes while
Oh,
everyone else was in the
yeah,
jersey. Like,
exactly.
he couldn't even put the
He couldn't
jersey
even
on
get
for the
dressed
picture.
up
Yeah,
because he's an
Nitpicking.
attention whore.
He's not playing in the game.
Yeah, he could have announced that a week ago and had someone else who's maybe never been
He's
in.
hurt.
Yeah, so why wouldn't he announce that? Why is he announcing the day of the game?
The NHL has worse case. Like Alex Ovechkin sat out like the past however many. Like he just sits out. He just doesn't want to do it.
Yeah, that's fine. If LeBron doesn't want to play, that's fine. But don't announce it the day of the game so someone can't take his spot. That's the only argument I'm making. I don't care if he plays, but don't announce it the day of the game. That's pretty dumb. And then have a press conference about it too. Like, okay, dude.
I doubt any player is
Look,
dying.
you want to get an All-Star debate again?
Game.
Some people, like Isaac Rosean, will never be in another All-Star game again. All right?
This
You want to
guy.
get in this
Oh,
debate?
This
no.
freaking guy.
See, you know, it's funny. While we were talking about this, it's like, I thought we talked about All-Star games recently, and now I remember. Now I remember what we talked about.
Probably still upset about that.
LeBron
too.
is still the GOAT. I don't need to hear anything else. Don't even bring up Jordan three-peated twice. Yeah, it's championships. I've already made my point clear that championships they should not be the first thing you bring up when you talk about legacy because it's a team game. All right. I hate all those conversations about, oh, he doesn't have enough rings. Yeah, it's a team game.
What are we talking about right now?
God, I don't know. This is the point in the season we've got.
Are you gonna start swearing again?
LeBron's the GOAT. That's all I'm saying.
I can't wait for the LeBron Last Dance documentary to come out because he's an attention whore. It's gonna happen. I guarantee it.
Where did this where did this hate come from? That suddenly this guy's like,
I didn't really mind him, but then it's like some people just glaze him too
what have we been
much.
talking about for the last 5 minutes? What?
No, it's like, okay, no, hear me out. It's like, okay, it's like some of us, you know, me, Christian, I would say even Jonah included, we didn't really mind Patrick Kane before all of the Sabres talk happened, and then, you know, some of our friends think he's like the greatest player ever. You know, it's a gradual lead up to, you know, not liking a player. That's
I mean,
how
he
it
does
goes.
make a case. Patrick Kane does make a case for greatest American-born player.
Garrett Cole never had an issue with them. And then as he signs with the Yankees and as he starts being a loser, now I don't like him. Like, it's a gradual buildup.
When he
That's how
signed
it
with
happens.
the
Yankees guy?
That's really gradual, JP. As soon as he signs with the Yankees, he's a loser.
He's just a loser. Some of the stuff he does, it's crazy.
Oh my God.
This has gone off the rails. I apologize.
What
this
are
is
we even
mainly on me.
talking about?
I mean, Brock
is mainly on
Nelson
me.
just decked the goalie and didn't get a penalty after he missed a wide open net.
And Brady Kachuk's also.
I don't know if we
hurt,
want
think.
to talk about that or not, but
Brock Nelson, the 60-year-old player.
Okay, why don't we? Why don't we move on here? Okay, so we didn't really touch on the Sabres themselves in this tournament. Only 3 are in attendance. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen hasn't even gotten a game for Finland. He's not even their backup. Saros, was their game 1 starter, but then they eventually turned to Kevin Lankinen, and Luukkonen did not get a game this entire tournament. But Henri Jokiharju, like 2 shifts into his tournament, scored against Connor. He wasn't even supposed to be in the tournament. He wasn't supposed to play. He was the last guy taken.
They brought him back, thank God.
Funny, dude. So funny. And
He's
then
boosting that value.
And then like nails Rasmus Dahlin in the knee 2 shifts later. Then we get to Rasmus Dahlin, who we touched on a lot during this episode. Sweden is just not treating him like the player that he is. He's arguably the best player on that roster. And he, up until tonight, has not been on either of their power play units. And in 2 overtime losses, did not receive a single shift.
But they decided to play Hedman, the defenseman who could barely skate anymore, and he's got, I don't know,
You must not
two
be
ankle
watching
weights
these.
on, bro. Are you kidding me, dude?
No,
he's that.
no,
Let me put some respect on Victor Hedman's name. Great defenseman in his prime, brother. Get off the ice. No.
I could see in like a 3-on-3 when you're going against
Hell
McDavid
no.
and McKinnon, like sure, but
Yeah, exactly. That's the exact connotations I'm putting on this. Like you want Dahlin out there. He's in his prime. He's the
he's
better
the only
offensive
other
defenseman.
defenseman on the roster I'd have out there instead of Hedman.
But why is Hedman double shifting? Like that makes no sense. Like not even
He's
that.
the
It's just
leader.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Probably
he's
They don't have a
leader.
win.
Yeah, they don't have a wheel. Yeah, exactly.
They have 2 points though. Going into today, they were tied for second.
It was actually, it was amazing. They had a chance. If Finland did win, they could have made it.
It's hard to lose back-to-back games in overtime.
Yeah, we make the same mistake both times. You know, fool me once, yada yada yada. Analogy.
Right on.
That is enough for this tournament. Obviously, very much looking forward to U.S. versus Canada on Thursday. That's already locked in. I mean, the hockey world deserve that rematch, and we're gonna get it. Hopefully, both Kachucks are healthy, and hopefully, Makar's playing and all that.
Can you repeat that?
Hopefully, both Kachucks are healthy. I want best on best. Like I was rooting for Canada today. I wanted them to win.
Flip that chat.
How could you not want another U.S.-Canada game?
Jonah confirmed rooting for the Tuchucks.
No, I don't know who I'm gonna root for.
Don't say
the
that.
asteroid.
Don't.
Root for the asteroid. They're not likable, okay? They're just not a likable team. Dude, Jack Eichel, Brady Tkachuk, Matt Tkachuk, they're on a line together. What? I'm supposed to, like...
As a hockey fan, that's such a sick line.
It's
Yeah,
Team
but I don't
USA,
root for...
man.
Like, I don't... Like, I throw up thinking about rooting for Canada, but they're throwing out some of the sickest line combinations ever put to paper.
Yeah, name on the front, Jonah. Whatever happened.
Like, Connor McDavid...
Name on the front.
Connor McDavid, Sidney Crosby, Nathan McKinnon took a shift together.
Uh-uh.
That's insane.
Hey, it's awesome. It's
It's awesome.
names on the back.
I'm not
bro.
rooting for that, though.
They booed your anthem, and you're considering rooting for them.
Not getting into this.
Hey, no. I said it that night. I said it that night. That game was in Quebec. I bet you there are people there booing both anthems. That province tried to secede from Canada. They just hate everyone. You know, there's some drunk guy just booing both anthems. I hate both these countries.
They just thought it'd be fun.
They were just hate watching. We got one final segment planned, and
Any predictions for the game, Jonah? Who you just the final who you're rooting for?
I just think just the way that hockey works, I think Canada gets their get back. So I think Canada
Makes
probably
sense.
wins. It just comes down to Bennington, really. I think it's as simple as that.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Especially now Canada kind of figured it out offensively. So
USA scored more goals against Finland, though.
what's the thing with Canada? There's only so many puck touches to go around. Like when Connor McDavid's on the ice, he needs the puck. and like same with McKinnon, even like Crosby, and even like Marner to an extent. So you look at the U.S. in comparison, feels like it's really just like Eichel, and even Matthews is a finisher. He's not really like a puck hog type player. I just feel like Canada might honestly have like they're just too talented for their own good. So I don't know. That's what I felt.
USA by a million.
That's what I felt Saturday, because like McKinnon was like a complete non-factor, and I don't know. I was losing it on Jack Hughes though. I thought he was atrocious. I thought he was atrocious that game.
Every turnover, just what does he even do?
All right, last segment here. JP, the floor is yours.
All right. So I figured this would be more of like a off-season thing that we could do like every single episode, just to have a new segment. But I figured we could try it out now. This kind of feels like an off-season pod. I mean, we're in a long break and Sabre season's already over, so I'll give a shout out to Baseball is Dead podcast. It's a baseball, one of the top baseball podcasts. They do this like once a week. They do they pick a random draft for the MLB, and then each person on the podcast has to pick 4 people. So and then they put it up to the fans to vote who had the best draft. So I figured like for MLB, like as much as like it works for them, at least for the NHL or even NBA, if you want to do like you could make a starting lineup with a draft. Where MLB it's more not as much. So what we will be doing a 2018 redraft. All 4 of us will pick 3 forwards, 2 defensemen, and 1 goaltender. This will be a snake draft. I'm about to randomize it. But
It's not rigged. Just to throw it out there.
We'll see how this goes. I think all of us, we did a little research before. This is kind of spontaneous. I think we all found out this draft kind of sucks, or maybe that the drafts aren't as deep as we think. But I don't know. We'll see how this goes. I think it should be fun. But all right, I'll randomize the draft order now, because it will be interesting to see who the first pick of the draft is. All right. Can you guys see my phone? Oh,
No.
There's a bad glare.
No, we can't. No, we cannot.
There's a bad glare. All right.
What is the order?
I promise you, I
What
have
is
all
the
their names
order?
in here.
We'll take your word for it.
I'm pressing it right now. I'm pressing it right now. The order of this snake draft will be Jonah is picking number 1. I'm picking 2nd, Christian 3rd, and I'm 4th.
Wait, I thought you said you second.
Yeah, you said your name twice, I think.
Yeah, I am. That's what I said.
You said you were
I
fourth.
did? Oh,
Yeah.
It's Jonah, me, Christian, Jesse.
This is rigged, dude. It's a rig. We couldn't see your phone, dude. This is.
All right, with that, the draft is open for Jonah. Who will he pick first? I am interested to see who he picks, because it's an easy pick for me, whoever he chooses.
I'm sticking by my guns. Give me Rasmus Dahlin, first
Incorrect
overall.
pick.
All right. Then I'm taking Quinn Hughes.
All right. Well, I guess I'm taking Brady Tkachuk.
Here's where it gets interesting.
Come on.
It's funny because when the baseball podcasts I listen to do this, it's always like the first 3 picks, it's like guaranteed. Then after that, it's like who knows what's gonna happen. So I get why Jesse's feeling this way.
I'll take Svechnikov. And
Wrong pick.
What do you mean wrong pick?
He sucks, dude.
I didn't understand the
sucks.
rules of this draft until
He
we
sucks.
got on here. I've been trying to look at my draft board while we were talking about other stuff. I'll go Lucas Dostal too.
Oh,
God damn it.
taking the best goalie early. Taking the best goalie
There's not a lot of them, so I got to get a leg up on you guys somehow.
Do I just go for the? No, it doesn't even, dude. When you say a lot of them, he's like the only like solidified starter. Like there's like a couple of fringe guys, but the opportunity cost isn't there anymore. Give me Evan Bouchard.
Good
Oh,
pick.
thanks for taking him. I did not want to take him. All right, I will take Noah Dobson. Actually, no. I changed my pick. Sorry, I
I
changed
don't
my
think you
pick.
can do that. You can't
No,
do
do
that.
I'm
that.
sorry.
You can't do
I'm
that.
sorry. No, I can't. I can't. My late round draft pick. I can't throw my late round draft pick. You guys will understand. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I'll hand Dobson to whoever else. I'm sorry. I forgot.
What?
What's going on here?
I can't. I can't. I forgot about my late round draft strategy.
So
That
so who do you
strategy went out the
take?
window.
So who do you take?
I will be taking the goaltender who's playing tonight, Samuel Ersson.
Dude.
Okay.
Okay, I will take Noah Dobson. Um, looking for goalies. There's not a lot of them. Only need one. Ah, man. I guess I will just go with Yoel Hoffer.
All right. Well, it's back to JP again, right?
Yeah, I gotta go forward here. I think I'm going to go. I don't want to lose out. No, I'll take Farabee. I'll take Farabee.
All right. Well, let's see
Who
here.
takes Samuelson? That is the question.
Get the hell out of here, bruh. Um, I will take. Ooh, this is a tough one. I don't want another defenseman yet. You know what? Just no, never mind. Mm, apologies. Just give me Kirill Marchenko.
Damn it. Good pick.
Good one.
Good pick.
Am I gonna get flames for Keandre Miller right now?
I won't flame you.
He's probably the best defenseman left.
That's what I think too. But I mean, he's kind of fallen off a bit. But I'll go Keandre Miller, and I'm taking Ryan McLeod.
Mm,
Damn it.
damn
Damn
it.
you.
He went early, man.
Damn you. That's what I was thinking about
Sabres
taking last
podcast.
pick.
I want the fans to vote for me.
Damn it. It's a good pick.
Best center
Boy.
in this draft, which is kind of nuts.
By a long shot.
It's not even close.
Man, yeah, this draft was basically for defensemen and wingers. Um all right. Has anyone taken Nils Lundqvist yet?
Don't believe so.
Um
JP's crossing a name off his list.
Hold on.
No, I was
His
not gonna
long
draft
list of
him.
every possible player that could have been taken.
I was not going to
I
draft a
can't
Dallas.
believe he
No,
made
no,
a
I
pick
don't-
and then was like, "Wait, nope, never mind," and we just allowed it to happen.
I don't want
It's his idea. We gotta let him run with it.
I gave you the next best available player. All right, you shouldn't be complaining.
Give me Rasmus Sandin instead.
All right, JP.
I will go Coach. Oh jeez, here we go. Coach Kit Keniniemi.
God damn, man.
Wow.
There's not many good forwards left.
All right, I need 2 forwards. I will take Sharon Govich, and I will also take who? I'll take Barrett Hayton.
All right.
Back to JP. I know who Jesse's taking if the pick gets to him. I know who.
I was hoping you wouldn't find him, dude. I was hoping.
No, he's on there. I didn't want to do it too soon.
I think I'm going to go with the number 6 pick in this draft, Philip Zadina.
He's taken Philip Zadina.
Wow.
My God.
He has no idea who went later in
He
this
has
draft.
no clue.
He's taken Philip Zadina.
There's not many good players left. I know there's
There's a
four
few
left,
better than
but
him.
I couldn't take him.
All right. Christian has one chance to just ruin
I don't.
Jesse's
Does he
plans
even know
here.
who we're talking about?
I mean, he doesn't know who we're talking about, but he might pick him.
Man, I feel like I might know who you're talking about. Oh man. This guy might be like a fourth liner, but hold on, give me 1 second.
Jesse's sweating
I am,
bullets right now.
yeah, I'm trying to figure out the one he's saying. I feel like this might be the guy, but the problem is it's like how far back do you go? Man. All right, give me like 10 more seconds and I'll make a decision. TikTok. And all right, I made my decision. Pontus Holmberg.
It was not him.
No,
Who are you between?
I was between Holmberg and Jack Drury.
No.
Wasn't
Give me
him.
Paul Cotter.
Mm.
Absolute beast.
I
He
can't
was on
believe
my
Cotter
list.
slipped to this.
Absolute beast. And I'll take Sean Dursey also.
That's a good
All right.
value pick.
So
I
that
can't believe nobody else
finishes
took him.
that finishes Jesse's list.
Mm-hmm.
Does.
All right, well, I need a goalie, so just give me. Is Akira Schmid taken?
No.
All right, I guess I'm taking Akira Schmid.
Do you have a goalie, JP?
All right.
Yeah, I think he took
picked
Urson,
Sam-
right?
He took
Oh,
Urson.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. All right. Here's the pick of the draft. I clarified before that I
Oh
think
my
UDFAs
God.
can be allowed.
This
I
guy.
looked for
Because
UDFA.
This
dude.
guy.
It's that draft class, and I think it should be like that draft class. And it's just so happens that one of the biggest missed opportunities in Sabres history. He was a draft eligible player in 2018, and he was signed by the Sabres in 2018. His name's Lawrence Pilot. I mean, it's just it's the pick of the. I mean, I'm telling you, Hughes and Lawrence Pilot, you're not beating that defense duo. You're
This-
not beating that.
This dude was talking about us glazing LeBron. I don't think
I
I've
was
ever seen
thinking
a
he's going to
bigger-
pull like a Kaprizov type that I didn't know was undrafted.
It is Krispy Kreme
I
around
did.
here.
Lawrence Pilot. Like that is the pick of the draft. I don't know how you guys missed out on that one. I'm surprised they fell that far, to be honest.
God. All right, Jonah. Let's round this out.
He was not draft eligible in 2018. I don't know what you're
Yes,
talking.
he was.
He's 29.
He was draft eligible that year.
He's older. He's older than Jack Eichel.
He was signed that year.
He's not draft eligible.
He did it for the meme.
What year
Just
was he
let him
draft
have it.
eligible?
I don't know when he was born in '95.
When I was doing my
like
research,
2013 or
it
2014.
was pointed. Shoot. He was signed that offseason.
Right, he was a UFA.
Yeah, he was like 24.
God damn it.
Oh my God.
All that work out the window.
Now you have to take
Damn,
Samuelson. Now
I
you have
really
to take
felt-
Samuelson by
I
default.
really felt
By
great
default.
about
By default,
that.
JP gets Matthias Samuelson.
Yeah. Oh, I just lost. I could have been no Dobson in the second round. I could have had Quinn Hughes and Noah Dobson. Oh boy. Yeah, I need another defenseman. I'm taking Matthias Samuelson.
Oh my God.
Matthias Samuelson.
Hilarious.
That's the biggest draft blunder and
Did that
Oh,
really just
boy.
happen? All right. I will finish off this draft with forward. Need a forward. I mean, I guess he's pretty high in scoring. Nah, I don't really like him though.
Brady's already drafted. Sorry.
Is there anybody that like broke into the league late that like I'm missing?
Jack McBain.
I'll take Martin Feravari. Give me Feravari.
Philip Kurashev.
I know Kurashev's high up there in scoring, but I just don't think he's that good. And like same thing with like Wallstrom.
Yeah, I can't believe I took. No one took Wallstrom, right?
Michael
No.
Kesselring undrafted.
That would have been a good defenseman, JP.
Went off too. Is he still good?
Yeah, Wallstrom's not even that high in scoring though. I'm glad I took Holmberg over him. Jesus.
Can't believe that just happened.
All right.
I think Paul Cotter was a steal of the draft.
All right, we get
I would
our
agree.
lists. We're gonna have to let the fans
Thank God I
decide.
don't talk to Christian about Paul Cotter as much. I know he was just looking to take the guy that I wanted.
The teams were Jonah had defense core, had Dahlin and Dobson. And then he had Joel Hofer as his goalie. And he had Sharon Govich, Hayton, and
Feravari.
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 Then I had defense of Samuelson and Quinn Hughes.
What a pair.
Dude. Oh my God.
Imagine if Samuelson's in the Pedersen trade and then we get that in real life.
It's a real possibility. Sam Erson, Sabres killer, is my goalie. And Farabee, Kotikaniemi, and Philip had Philip Zadina.
You have Kokeniemi and Zadina? Oh my God.
Yeah.
We've got a whole lot of mid, not even
Hey.
mid.
They were drafted high for a reason, all right? I'm going off draft pedigree there. Christian has Brady Kachuk, Evan Bouchard, Marchenko, Sedin, Holmberg, and I have no idea who your last pick
Akira
is.
Schmid.
I don't know. Yeah, him. And then Jesse has Svechnikov, Dostal, Keandre Miller, McLeod might be the steal of the draft, Paul Cotter, and no idea who your last pick was.
Sean Dursey.
Oh, yeah. So there's your teams. We'll have to see. We'll put this to a fan vote. See who had the best team. I'll probably take myself out of the running after what just happened.
Well, would you
I
bet
just wanna
in the
say-
running if you got Pilot instead of Samuelson?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I absolutely. It doesn't have to be the best draft. It's the fans' favorite draft. So
We'll just put up a poll with our names and our teams, and we'll let them decide. Okay.
yep. But yeah, we'll see how this turns out. Maybe we'll make it a thing in the summer. Have a little more preparation next time. But
Agreed. Fun little exercise. All right, that's going to do it for this one, folks. I do, before the second half of the season kicks off for the last 20-something games or whatever, I do want to do player grades. So hopefully we get that done later this week before Saturday. But other than that, if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can follow us at the Sabre Report. Also on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at the Sabre Report. If you listen to this on YouTube, thank you very much for listening. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. We're getting close to 2,000 subscribers, so that's something to shoot before the end of the season. If you want updates for the pod, you can follow us at Sabre Report Pod. As always, go give our friends over at the Buffalo Sports Talk podcast a listen. They are in off-season mode, so if you want your Bills fix, go and give them a listen. But other than that, thank you guys very much for listening. Take care, and as always, go Sabres.
Go Sabres.
go Sabres.
Go Sabres.
All right, editor's note here. Jesse did bring up as soon as we stopped recording, Martin Feravari is a defenseman. I don't know why I thought he was a forward. So I am going to have to change my last pick. I will take Philip Kurashev. There we go. Bang. End of episode. See ya.
Go Sabres.